What up, y'all? Welcome to the show. I know you're expecting Ryan Bowen right now, but he's running a little bit late. And I told him just come on in when you're ready, and I'll go ahead and let him in. But meanwhile, let's talk turkey. Did anybody out there see the one-on-one sit down that Neil Pickup had between Sanders and Devin? It was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. I have to say, it's good to see Devin back at Arm Wars because if you go back to all the Arm Wars archives on YouTube, back when Arm Wars was different back then, Devin was there. He was the Arm Wars heavyweight champ to the point where he never lost. Never lost. I mean, we're talking, he pulled John Brzenk, Michael Todd, Barbosa. He even did the Arm Wars, what I call the original top eight at Sin City in Vegas. I think that was 2010, maybe 12, something like that. And he went through Richard Lepke's and Tim Breslin and Don Underwood. So, Devin hasn't lost in the Arm Wars series. So, but first things first, thanks everybody for joining me on the show. Robert Kelly, Paul Stevens, Jay Clean, Lagia. I think I butchered that name. I'm sorry. Sorry. But Benji Max in the house. But the thing is, though, guys, I'm excited for this Saturday because we are talking about I don't want to say once in a lifetime. I don't want to say that because the way this thing happened, because as soon as East vs. West was done, all of our attention was like, okay, now we're waiting for King of the Table because the double main event. I got to take my glasses off for this one. The double main event. And it was, hey, Brzezinski and Saplinkov. And then, of course, Levon and Hermes. Now, we're all ready for that. And I do believe it's February 24th, I believe. So we're all getting ready for that. And then, lo and behold, next thing you know, here comes Neil doing what Neil does. Curveball. Guess what? Dark card. Okay, Sanders, the reigning WAF world champion, and Devin Larratt about to go down. So, Joe Cagle, welcome to the show. But what are you guys' thoughts on that? Because I'm watching him kind of going, okay. And do you think Sanders has a chance? Now, again, coming right off of the WAF World Championships, everybody has a chance, right? And in fact, this is what I've learned. I've been in this sport for 13 years now. If I don't know anything, I do know this, is that everybody has a weakness, right? You're never going to go through the sport unscathed, undefeated, if you pull long enough, right? So, some of the guys in the chat, they were talking about Hermes and Levon, and I said this, and I want you guys to go ahead and tell me what you guys think. Let's just say King of the Table 6 rounds, right? Okay. Now, here's the thing, though. If Hermes gets one pin, right? Hear me out. If Hermes gets one pin on Levon, that's a victory in itself, in my opinion, because I don't know the last time Levon got pinned. I think it was what's that dude's name? Sabin. He was the last guy to pin him in an actual, match. Up until that point, Levon's been 6-0 on everybody. Ungerbayev, Tim Breslin, Chafee, Devin, Vitali, anybody, and then just going back to the top 8, right? When the top 8 was a thing, this goes back to everything. So, he basically pulls once a year, although it seems like it, right? So I'm thinking, all right, here we go. So again, once everybody, thanks you for joining me on the show. Mr. Ryan Bowen's running a little bit late, so he told me, hey, I might be 20 minutes late. I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to just roll with it anyway. We're going to sit here. We're going to talk shop. We're going to drink this water, and only I can do. You have to, right? Okay. Now, so Devin and Sanders. Does Sanders have a chance? Now, if you go by what the interview was talking about, right? The two guys sitting there, and Devin was being nice because usually Devin's can be an asshole sometimes just to get in somebody's head, his opponent's head. So I was kind of surprised when I didn't see that. And I don't know. Does that change anything? Maybe, maybe not. Jay Clean says last time he was pinned was he was 100% was Gennady at the same events that being pinned him. Oh, okay. There you go. So again, that goes back to when who's going to be the next guy to pin this guy? Does Hermes have a chance? We'll get that in a second. But what I was going to go back is like, I think Sanders has a chance now to win or to pin Devin. I think you have to know a few things because this is going to be arm wars. This is not going to be East versus West. I don't think Devin's going to intimidate the refs there. They're pretty much like, look, these are the rules, yada, yada, yada. I can't wait till Saturday, but these are the rules. I don't think the refs are going to go for that kind of shenanigans stuff, So we'll see, though. Now then, exactly, Jay Clean. Depends on how the refs or the rules are enforced. But the thing is, though, and I'll say this, and you guys can agree or disagree about. I do want you guys' thoughts. Now, the ref is the law, period. They're in charge, right? So, I'm sorry. If we're in a ref script, we all know if you're in a ref script, you don't move, period. You don't move. I don't care if the sweat's coming off your nose, it's dripping right here, it's just hanging. You don't touch it. Let it go, right? You don't move. But the problem is, I think, is we run into is the fact that, before I get to that part, let me go ahead and add Mr. Ryan Bowen to the show. Ryan, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? Sorry for being late. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, no, I was just trying to care. I was just talking to the everybody in the chat about Devin and Hermes and Devin and Sanders, and then Hermes and Levon. Where do we go from there? But since I got you on the show, let me get your thoughts. Did you see the sit down with Neil Pickup tonight or this afternoon?
I did, yeah.
So what was your thoughts on that?
Man, it was pretty cool. You can see, I believe Devin when he says he was relaxed, when he said he was, he's been there before, and he's got that calm confidence about him inside. And I do believe that he is the favorite to win. My gut feel is Sanders has the tools, Sanders has the power, but Sanders has to be very careful because if at any stage Devin gets his nose in front, it's over because Devin has the long game wrapped up. For Sanders to win the match, even if he's up 3-0, he's still not sure whether he's going to win the match because he knows that as soon as Devin's got his nose in front, it's over from the endurance side. So I think Sanders has to be very calculated, very patient, very aware of all of the setup shenanigans that can possibly happen in a 6-round arm wars. And I'd take a leaf out of Dennis Saplenkov's book. If you remember back to the way Dennis pulled Devin, he did not load at all, like ever. And when Devin went early, he just let his arm go, just kind of looked at the ref, smiled, and said, "Well, ref script." Went to ref script, and then bang, and that was on. So if I'm Sanders, I'm very cautious about bleeding myself out in the setups.
Two things I want to get your opinions on. Number one, if the two things that are going to be real important, one is if Devin stops the match, because we know Sanders can be very explosive. And when he goes, it's going. But if for some way Devin stops the match, do we now know that, does he have enough juice in the tank to pull through that? And then my second question would be about the refereeing. But we'll go ahead and touch base on if Devin can stop the match. And if he does, is Sanders in trouble? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that if Devin stops the match and is still within good fundamental shape, then yes, Sanders is done. But I've seen stopped matches before with Devin where he was out of position and it wasn't so clear who was going to win. I'm thinking back to matches against Matt Mask in the WAL on the left hand, and there's probably many of them out there where you could see Devin was out of position. He was surviving by the skin of his teeth. He's out of position, but there was no finish from his opponent. I think if the match stops like that, then it will go Sanders' way eventually. Sanders will squeeze that out because he has the press and all that. But if it stops with Devin's hand being still secure, then it's definitely over.
What do you think about this flop press? It says maybe with a flop press, Sanders can win. His hand is not there, I think, with Devin. Your thoughts on that?
The flop press is a fair tool, but it's a risky one because once you've done it once, it's kind of all that's left. I think that Sanders does have a legitimate press. I think that he should fight for hand control for as long as he can. I think if he's committing to the flop press straight off the go, he's probably not going to get it. I feel like all his effort and energy into keeping his pronation and his height. And then if that is failing, just because the failure point will be when Devon is really stretched open too. That's when Sanders' hand will fail. So if he is given it his all in the top roll, and then as his hand fails, then commits to the flop, then that could be a very fruitful thing. Because like we think back to Todd Hutchins against Devon, it was the lack of a flop press from Todd Hutchins that really cost him the win. He opened Devon up to that critical point, but there was just no press there. Where Sanders has the press.
Right. Well, and here's the thing, because my second part of this question was the referee. Now, we've seen Devon, and I don't want to say he can manipulate the refs, but we've seen him how he at that king of the table. You know, we've seen him at WAL. We've seen him at the last East versus West versus Prudnick, and I was just talking to the guys in the chat before you got on that sometimes, you know, when the ref says, hey, don't move in the ref script, that's exactly what you do. You don't move, period. You don't wipe the sweat off your nose, none of that stuff. And I know everybody wants to see a match. You don't want to lose on fouls. But the way I grew up, and I've been in the sport 13 years now, when the ref says don't move, then don't move. Because I'll say this. I now approach the table like I already have one foul. And we all know a second foul, you're done. That way I stay in control instead of all that bouncing around and all that moving and stuff, because who wants to sit there and see that? Now, the question is, are the refs from Arm Wars going to allow Devon to do all that manipulating and, you know, doing what he does best? That's the key.
The short answer is yes. The short answer is yes. Like they are going to allow it. And because it is Arm Wars, and Arm Wars we know is about the arm wrestling being the drama itself. And Devon will bring that. This is where Sanders, I think, has to be most cautious, because the thing that will control the referees better than the rule sets, better than our expectations, or better than even Neil's expectation, will be the way Sanders communicates with the ref. If Sanders sits there like Seplinkov did and does nothing, takes it all the way to a ref script, and then when Devon postures and moves in the inevitable ref grip, if Sanders then looks at the referee and said, "Are you seriously not going to call all that movement in the refs?" If Sanders is perfectly still, he can talk like that to the ref,
right?
And then the ref will be like, "Oh shit, yeah, I should." Devon's going to then do his thing. Sanders walk back, stay nice and cool, nothing, come back, do it again. And if he moves again, then Sanders can say, "You said you were going to foul him. Why didn't you foul him?" "Oh, you did foul him. Good." So like, what for me, whether or not it is really strict or as loose as they can come, is going to come down to Sanders. I think he has the ability to control it. Devon will make it loose as he can.
Right.
He will. Yeah.
Well, I was going to talk about your match coming up a little bit later, but you know what, though? We got comments already, so I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. Okay. Jed's Pipe Fitting says, Ryan, you winning one of the first 4 rounds against Chance. I feel that a good bet on State Kings. So now, this is February 24th, correct?
Yeah. For the USA crowd, it'll be February 24th, about 8 p.m. Eastern time.
This will be on your channel?
It will, yes, sir.
All right. I can't wait to get on that. So tell me, without giving away too many secrets, what your training been like. And you know what? Before I went live, when you had texted me saying, "Hey, I'm running a little bit late," I was actually watching your match with Chance the first time around. You know, it was a little different. You know, Chance was a little younger, wasn't as thick. He was a little skinnier then, as were you. And I was like going, "Oh, okay." And I'm watching going, okay. And this will take place in Australia, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I noticed for round 1, and you were there, you know that. If everybody could go watch that and come back to the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. Round 1, and I'm watching, I'm like going, okay, is it me or has Chance had his shoulders all the way in like that, like this to start with? I'm like going, are you going to straighten his shoulders? But I guess that didn't matter, you know. But you found a way.
To answer the question of the comment that you put up on the screen is, am I going to win one of the first 4 rounds? Look, I feel really, really good going into this match for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah, let us have it.
I really respect Chance for what he's become. I just think he's entirely sleeping on me on what I've become as well. I kind of feel sorry for him because the last time he saw me was when I faced Coach Ray. Chance was in the room, so he's dealing with an image in his head of an 87 kilo me. That's what his memory is. I'm 107 kilos now. Oh yeah. I was 104.7 this morning, naked after a piss. So once I've eaten some food and had some water and got dressed, 107.5 is thereabouts. So I kind of feel sorry for Chance in that respect. I think there are a lot of major factors at play. One of them is, you touched on it, he's coming to Australia. He's never been to Australia before, and I can't really emphasize how significant the trip is. It's a long way. The time zone's messed up compared to what he's coming from. And I mean, I sent him the cash to book his flights. He booked his own flights. I think he's a madman. He's arriving the night of the 23rd, and we face in Australia at lunchtime the 25th. He got 36 hours between landing and ready to go, for goodness sake. What
I know, like when you guys go to Turkey, or if you go to Dubai, you got to at least be there like 2 or 3 days beforehand, right?
Man, I mean, I've done a lot of international runs now, and I'm there at least 4 days before. It knocks me around too much if I don't give myself at least 4 days. So add to that, Australian summers are really hot. I don't know what a Florida winter's like. I know a Florida winter's not as cold as a New York winter, but hey, he's coming from a Florida winter to a Australian summer. Hello, heat. How's that? Yeah, like it's in Fahrenheit today for me. I think it's about 110 or something like that. So,
well, not to mention you guys on a different world because you guys are below the equator. We're above the equator, so there's always that. But I always wondered how that worked out because I'm going to Arm Wars at the end of March, and I'm going to go there. I'm going to get there, maybe a day or two beforehand, just so I can get acclimated, that kind of stuff to everything before I can go ahead and get busy. But when you do that kind of stuff, tell me, like, from when you went to Turkey, how long was the flight from Australia to Turkey?
Two 11-hour flights.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you went to pull in Florida, when you went to go pull Chance, how long was that flight?
That was a 15-hour flight to LA, and then LA across to Florida.
Wow, that's just. And then you're kind of going back in time because you guys are how many hours are you guys ahead of us?
It's 12:30 p.m. on a Friday for me right now.
Okay, so right now it is Thursday evening, 6:19 Pacific Standard Time. That's where we're at right now. So
okay, so now's about when we're saying ready to go, which is fine for his body clock, but the fact that he's going to have traveled so far in respect to that, and he won't have slept. I don't know, but that's just some of the factors. Like the other side of it is where you touched on my training and preparation. My last 5 months has been a really transformative 5 months. After the loss to Coach Ray, I made the decision. I listened to a lot of voices around me, and I said, okay, I'm going to go all in on the fundamental strength training. I engaged with Sebastian Oreb, who is, in a lot of people's eyes, the world's best strength coach. He's got something like 15 world record holders underneath him. He most famously coaches Hafthor Bjornsson, and he's doing so again at the moment. But he coached him to his world's strongest man title. I've combined Sebastian and Lachlan Adair have combined because Sebastian obviously didn't know arm wrestling specifics. So those two minds together have programmed every set and rep that I've done in the last 5 months. And I'm very proud that I've not missed a rep. I legitimately haven't missed a rep, and it's opened up my world. Like, it's crazy. The strength that I've gained in a powerlifting sense. I've gone from a 105 kilo bench I'll be attempting 145 kilos next week, and I think I'll get it easy. That's some perspective in that sort of 4.5 month period. But on the table, my goodness, it's gone from the guys that I used to be dominant over, well, the guys I used to be balanced with. They now feel like children, and the best measurement is Lachlan. As you see it, I know when it started happening, when I put a video out about probably 5 weeks ago, people were like, "Oh, this is just a marketing thing. They're not really balanced. Ryan's not really able to do anything with Lachlan. It's all just pretend." That was fair enough that people thought that, but it's happened again. It's happened again. It's happened again. It's the proof's out there now. Like I'm looking good against Lachlan right now. My hand and wrist against him is outside of straps. I'll take the wrist 95% of the time. And in straps, at the moment, it's about 60-40 me, with me busting his wrist back. And yeah, so that progress has come all from the gym. It's the increased fundamental back pressure and fundamental side pressure that I have that is just allowing my hand to do well. I do believe that the decade of pure hand training, essentially, that I did was like a long-term investment that is now finally paying dividends. I see the hand. For me, the hand is like the traction on the road. The conditioning of the last 10 years is like how much torque that I have. And I'm finally upgrading the engine now with the fundamental power. So it's all coming together, and I feel amazing on the table. I think that I have a very, very, very good shot of winning this match and winning it well.
Nice. The Schmo says, "This is the one time I won't give you any crap for using 44%. You're legitimately 44% stronger now after Sebastian Lachlan program." Now, I will say this. The match with Coach Ray, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I had you on right after that, and we talked about how you actually made the weight cut, but you said there's a big mistake the way you did that. Well, guess what? You're not cutting weight this time. And this goes into my next comment coming from Joe Cagle. "I really think Chance will be too strong and his lane will be too much for Ryan. I'm proud and excited to see Ryan at this level of strength. Props to him." So where do we go from here? Are you going to stay at this weight? Are you going to cut down? And what are we doing now? I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, look, Joel's comment, I'm glad that there's still people that believe that, look, no matter what with the progress I've made, Chance is still going to be too strong. This for me all comes back to what we did in 2020. A lot of people who are trying to hold up Chance and say, people that really believe Chance is going to kick my ass, make comments like Chance was a kid, Chance had done nothing when he pulled me. Those people happily either forget or choose just to ignore the fact that 3 months prior to me facing Chance, he beat Nick Zinner and Brent Rackers in a tournament convincingly. If you don't know who those two names are, go look them up. So Chance, sure, he was young, sure, he was no good compared to now, but he still was capable of beating Nick Zinner and Brent Rackers in a tournament. I felt on the day back then when I pulled Chance that his arm was stronger than mine. That was fairly evident to me. I could feel that through the connection. His back pressure was stronger. His side pressure was stronger from the wrist. But everything above the wrist, I felt I had the edge on, and I could feel it. It was accumulating over time. And if you look at the slips by round 4, he's balling up trying to get away, and I'm chasing his fingers.
Right.
And it gets worse and worse and worse. So my wrist back then was better than his, and that was really what won me the match at the end of the day. Now, fast forward to now, yes, he's gone on. He's taken it a whole lot more seriously. He's got bigger. He has better wins on the board than I do, without a doubt. But arm wrestling is one of those sports where styles make matches. I think proportionally, in a physicality sense, I've put on just as much, maybe even more than he has in terms of size difference since that day where we first faced. So my suspicions are that it's going to feel similar. I feel like he might have the edge on back pressure, side pressure. If we were just to put a strap around our wrist and pull on a machine, he's probably going to have 10% more than me or something like that. But I think if you put that same strap over the top of our knuckles, I'd have 10% more than him. So I think that it's going to come down to the ability to execute and dictate the lane. Very similar to what it did last time. It's my home ground though. Big advantage. I've pulled under the referees that are going to be there. I pulled under every referee in Australia. I know exactly what they feel like. I'm used to the 40-degree weather, and I don't have to fly 59 hours to be there. I think I'm really good shot to win this. And yes, I'm staying heavy.
There you go. I see my uncles in the chat. Cobra Rose, welcome to the show. Carolyn Looms, welcome to the show. I was wondering because the thing I was looking at was okay. Armors, I love that match you had because you needed that 6-0. Okay, you got everything going back now. Who else is on your radar aside from this match coming up next month with Chance? Who else on your radar?
Well, I am very comfortable at this weight. Regarding my weight, it's interesting because for the first time in my life, I'm self-conscious about my legs. I've put on so much thickness through my chest, shoulders, and arms that now my legs look absurd. Interestingly, I had a body scan done today. My legs were they were pretty much average sized legs for someone my height and weight. They were normal sized, but my chest, shoulders, and arms were in the 175th percentile. So it looks real stupid. So I'm not going down in weight, and I may even after Chance start adding a bit more whole body stuff, deadlifts, and that'll cement me up there. So when I look at who I want to face after this, like I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm purely focused on this match. But pending the results of this match will open up, no doubt, opportunities to me. If I'm successful against Chance, I will look around that 105 to 115 kilo range. And I mean, we all know what the list of names are. I'd love to pull in the USA amongst that crowd if I beat Chance. Man, if I beat Chance, then we're starting to get close to where the Ron Baths are appropriate. Dare I say it, even the Todd Hutchins start to become appropriate and things like that. If I lose to Chance, then it'll be back to the grindstone, aiming at that 105 kilo mark. I'd love a rematch with Zurab later on in the year or something like that.
Yeah. Well, there's this new federation organization called Armed Gods. I'm sure you're familiar with it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Marcus Thompson.
Yeah. There's code right there. Armed Gods rocks, right? That is the one where Beer Man took a beer can to Paul Maiden's head and all that kind of stuff, and then decided to go get whacked, in straight sets. But there's the opportunities right there. So if you go to Ireland or wherever, I think the next one, rumor has it might be in Canada, whatever. There's some potential pullers you can pull for there. That'll be interesting. That'll be awesome to do. But as far as Tadzilla, I mean, he was on the show with Ozzy the other day, and he was talking about he's going to be a seasonal puller now, that kind of thing, which I understand. As far as you go, though, and I don't want to, put the cart in front of the horse because you want to focus on one match at a time. I totally get that. Do you have any other offers down the road that you can speak about, or maybe not?
I do. I do have offers, but I can't speak about it. I received an offer today, from someone that just be like, I'm like, yes, that will be a yes, but it's dependent upon a certain result against Chance, so we'll see. So I can't speak on it until I've got the job done. But there are offers. Yeah,
wow.
There are offers. There's an offer riding on my result. If I beat Chance, there's an amazing offer. Yes.
Marcus Thompson says, Jody, Ryan on the plane for Canada experience. Ha ha. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. That'll be nice.
Marcus Thompson, good man.
Other than that, we were also talking about, the big match everyone's talking about, because on the same day as your match with Chance, and we just got through talking about some other matches, but Brzezinski, Saplinkov.
Okay.
What do you expect out of that? Just out of the
Yeah.
what
I
do you
haven't, like I've been fortunate enough to be close to the Saplinkov camp in the last sort of 6 months on a few occasions, both in Dubai and in Istanbul. I've got to hang out with Dennis a bit and just pick up on his energy and feel where his kind of intent is at. And also, I'm good buddies with John.
yeah
I've spoken to John about this and seen his level of confidence and whatnot, and watching a few bits and pieces. It's really difficult for me to give a prediction here on how it's going to go. All I can say is that Dennis is amazing. He's in the category of different. You can see that his fundamental power is not what it once was, but his hand and wrist is still there. His hand and wrist is still. That's what the thing that's in the different category. It's like, oh my goodness, when you look at the fingers and the wrist and the integrity of his joints, it's just off the charts, bizarre. But then you look at John and you look at their historical track record. John in super matches has always been in control of Dennis. He lost in the Nemiroff on one occasion, I think, and Dennis was over the moon when it happened. He was jumping for joy. But historically, and this is what John will say to me, is that he's never had a problem getting control of Dennis's hand and wrist. I think John is faster than Dennis. And when they say go, John can hit with a bit of supinated side pressure and immediately get the top roll and the pronation set, all before Dennis even turns anything significant on. So the match kind of starts with Dennis open and John in a high hook.
right.
Now, if that happens again, I saw John say today, if John wins, it's going to be 6-0 either way. He said it'll be, if I get his hand and wrist controlled round one, it'll all become easy. But likewise, if Dennis gets it on John's arm round one and can bypass John's hand somehow, then it's going to go Dennis 6-0. It's a really tough match. I don't know who to pick because I see confidence in both men, and I have a lot of reason to believe both men when I see their confidence. I have to say that Dennis is the slight favorite in my mind, but I'm ready to be just amazed all over again and watch John beat him one more time.
Well, the thing is, though, for me, it's because we don't know where Dennis is at. We've seen John. You've seen him in person. We've all seen him on the King of the Table stage, East versus West, and he's been pulling. Well, we haven't seen much of Dennis. Yeah, we've seen what's the big dude's name that was
Zauer?
Yeah, we've seen him against Dennis, but we don't know when that was taken. Was that before practice, after, or whatever the case? Toward the end, we don't know yet. And I don't know the last time an actual match that Dennis pulled. So, and he may say I'm about 70-80%. We don't know that though. He may be telling us that, but we don't know that for sure. So he's really a wild card in this whole scenario because we really don't know what to expect from him. Now, if you go in the past where John has spoken that sometimes having a big hand like Dennis can also be a disadvantage because it's so large that, it's almost like you're pulling with your hand open. When you grab onto somebody, it's like you're grabbing like this. You don't have any control when you're grabbing something like that, really. It's all finger pressure at that point. But, John has been there before. He knows what to do. But, we're going to have to wait and see, how it goes. That's one of the co-main events. The other one that we're talking to chat about before you got on, Levon, is anybody going to be able to beat him? Gasparini, he has the next one. I sat there and said this. I want your thoughts. Everybody in the chat, I want your thoughts. This is what I said. I said, look, if by chance Gasparini pins Levon, right, and loses every single match, that is a win itself because the last time he got pinned was a long time ago. I think that right there would be a victory. They're going to celebrate back in Italy for him. That's just my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that would be considered a major victory. And I know that Levon would be upset with a 5-1 victory. Levon's legacy is 6-0s. That's what he's about. He's about, I'm never dropping around in a professional super match. there's about a 15% part of me that thinks that Hermes has the shot and the ability to achieve that. If we're just talking about the first round victory, I think Hermes has a very sharp game. He's one of those guys that truly evolved from once upon a time being a lightweight arm wrestler. So he's brought with him all of the technique and sharpness that he had from being a lightweight arm wrestler all the way up to this super heavyweight division where he's now a monster himself. But I think he is still the sharpest of all the arm wrestlers in the super heavyweight division. I think he has the most punch in his back pressure and pronation. And that is the one thing that makes me think he has a chance. We know Hermes goes all in on that top roll. I feel like we're going to know very early in the grip negotiations whether there's a shot, because for Hermes to have a shot, his finger containment must be enough to withstand the back pressure load of Levon. If it's not, then it's over. If it is, then it's on. So I think in the setup we will see it. They're gonna go to straps clearly, but who has that high ground? My goodness, it's going to be fascinating. I think Levon is slightly longer forearm than Hermes. So it means that Hermes will get underneath a little bit more and have that pop that he likes with his bicep attack. It's a big opportunity for Hermes. He's got no pressure on him. He gets to swing for the fences. And like I said, there's about a 15% part of me that believes it can happen. And the other 85% kind of slaps me around and says, "Shut up, you idiot. Levon's going to crunch him 6-0."
I tell you what, if Levon gets pinned, oh my God, can you imagine? It's going to break the internet.
Oh, will, yeah, it will.
The fucking internet. You know, I mean, and are we that fickle to where it's like, well, if you, like Joel said, if he busts Levon's hand back but still ends up losing, that's like that's almost a win too. And you know, Devin tried it, didn't work. Chafee, he couldn't get it done. If you want to go further back to the top 8, where Angarbayev made him sweat for a second, but he figured it out, still won 6-0. Vitaly, Tim Bresnan, the list goes on and on. He's been 6-0 on everybody for the last X amount of years. And, you know, I wonder, and my next question would be, because you've been on both shows, you've been on King of the Table, you've been on East vs. West. Is there a difference aside from the 6 rounds or the best of 5? Is there an actual difference? Because Gasparini looks like he's unstoppable when he pulls at King of the Table.
Yeah. No, the differences aren't just the pacing of the King of the Table night is a little more manageable. I think you get because there are far less matches on. You just better. You're better on your mental preparation, your timing to your energy in your peak with your food and all that. When you're at East vs. West, you don't know how long it's going to be until it's go time. So I think that King of the Table, I think Hermes, I can see why he'll be happy to be there and suited to that environment. The refereeing and the rules, I think, are essentially the same between the two from memory. But it's the big stage. It's where obviously Levon faced Devin, so it feels like the big pinnacle of the sport at the moment to be at the King of the Table facing Levon. That's massive. Yeah, I think that Hermes will be ready. I think he should be nervous. He should be okay to be nervous, but nervous in a good way and just tee off.
Preacher Arm Wrestling says, I think Hermes is coming in at the strongest of any competitor Levon has faced to date. Not saying he'll be able to do anything, but still interesting. And, you know, and I agree with that, you know. And also Joe Cagle says Hermes' game plan has to be to put the top roll Levon and force him to make the adjustment. If it's possible, fine. If anybody can force him, maybe he might be the one. Nobody's ever made Levon pull inside all the way and come forward. Well, what if, just for the sake of argument, and I got you on the show, Ryan, what if some way, somehow, there's a match and all of a sudden Dennis goes, depending on how he feels against John, goes, you know what? Give me 6 more months. I'll be ready to pull Levon toward the end of 2023.
I'm expecting that. Hey,
what would that look like?
I'm expecting that. I think that's what Dennis ultimately wants. I think he really respects John, um, and it's a great legacy match at any time of the sport. But as his return match, this is the honest thought on the. I think the vibe that I picked up from the Sablinkov camp is that this is his just warm up return match with John. so I think he has a big picture, and I think it ends with Levan. I think Dennis believes in himself. He's taking the long, slow, cautious road. He obviously health is his highest priority, given the scares that he's had. But he's in that category of guy that's just different, and his hand and wrist is so amazing that if it was to get the brakes on Levan, then we're going to have to see, does Levan have a flop press if the Sablinkov Kings move is in place and it's all come to a grinding halt, for example. So I think that it wouldn't be a surprise if Sablinkov gets victory over Brzenk that we see him moving up that ladder pretty quickly. Yeah,
I tell you what, the Levan we see right now, there's one guy in my mind, I think, who could have beat him, but we'll never ever see it, right? So if Puskar was still around, Andre Puskar, that might be the guy who would take him out first. That's
you
just
never
my
know, Rob.
opinion.
And
What's that?
if Andre had have lived a little longer, like he was a young guy still. I think he died when he was 33.
Yeah.
So he was ahead. Like this was one of the tragedies of that was that not only in his passing, but for Levan rose to the top in the absence of Puskar and Sablinkov. Puskar passed away and Sablinkov became ill. So
Right.
those two names were the kings of the sport at the time. And it's no discredit to Levan, but I'm sure Levan wishes that he had to climb past those two guys. It would have meant more to him had he had that opportunity. Puskar had that style, immense back pressure and wrist integrity. No one could match him on it, and then he just crushed people sideways so hard. Very encouraging.
He hit that bullseye every single time. You can just it's almost like there's a laser. I'm gonna put an X right here, and when he would do this, it was like, oh crap, here it comes. Boom! It was over. It was like going crap. If you can stop it, fine. But
I know John. I once asked John for his top 10 opinion of overall of the highest peak in the sport, and this was a couple of years ago, and he had Puskar at number 1 for the highest peak that he'd ever experienced. So
yeah, I mean, at the time of his unfortunate passing, I mean, he was the guy. I mean, I guess he was the guy, and then ipso facto, he's no longer with us. God rest his soul. Dennis, started having health issues. It was almost like, okay, well, who wants to step up now? Here's Levan. I'll step up. I'll just get big and step up and just dominate everybody, which is fine. But we all know when you're in this sport a long time, there's always that what if, or yeah, but Levan, you're the man. Yeah, but if Puskar were still around, but Levan's still the man. Yeah, but if Dennis wouldn't have got sick at the time, there's always but or what if. So now you got right now it's 1A and 1B. Do you feel that way? Because now you got a guy named Jerry Catter who's probably sitting there going, what the fuck? Because that should have been him technically had he not injured himself when it was Hermes and Jerry that was slated, and that didn't happen. So if I'm Jerry Cataract, what is Jerry thinking now? Okay, I beat Georgie. Okay, now I'm feeling good. Now I'm going to just kick back, have a daiquiri, some popcorn, watch, because Jerry's going to take on the winner. Yes. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, Jerry, when I picture Jerry against Levan, I like it because of the random X factor that Jerry brings, just to see what Levan does to it. Or but let's assume Levan. My concern is that Jerry would get just ultimately broken in half. I know that Jerry's elbow is made of steel. I think Jerry truly is the side pressure king in the world. I know we talk about Todd Hutchins, but no one's elbow can withstand the same degree as Jerry's. The way he stands in front with all hand gone, all rotation gone, and just leaves the elbow joint with people as big as Georgie Svetkov swinging off it, literally.
Wow.
I can't imagine. I just can't imagine that degree of elbow conditioning. But I think there's a limit to it, and I think Levan's above that limit. And I think that Levan's back pressure would very comfortably force Jerry to flop, and then if Jerry flopped on Levan, I think Levan would just throw him across the table. I'm sorry, Jerry. I can't see it anywhere for Jerry.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, my fear with Jerry is that, I don't know. I got a bad feeling about, the match with Georgia, because out of the 3 wins that Jerry got, I think there's only 1 pin. I mean, that match, this is nothing against Jerry. It's just that match was just sloppy. I mean, there were so many opportunities that Georgia could have won, and he just didn't. So I'll be punching the hell out of everybody in my camp. Everybody who was in his corner, I'll punch everybody in the chin, because anytime you're climbing up, get on it and press down instead of just, letting the strap loose up again, And if I'm Jerry, it seemed like to me, and I might get shit for this, but I don't care, because, I mean, the video is right there. You can say what the fuck you want. But it seemed like to me, Jerry was like, okay, I'm just not going to lose. I'm like, well, man, I mean, the prep leading up to it, Jerry's going to smash this, smash Georgia, this, that, and the other. I'm thinking Jerry got this. He's strong as ever. But he really couldn't get the pin. I'm thinking, all right, either because Georgia couldn't get his elbow on the pad, or it kept sliding off the back. But at the same time, it's like, Jerry, if you're that strong, fucking pin his ass. Get that shit done and get it over with.
I
extra time
think that
you have to.
a lot of people painted Jerry as the extreme favorite, and even in the press conference, the way that Engen and Travis and Neil were all talking, they were talking like it was a formality, like it was already, like it was so convincingly already over in a sense. But Georgie Svetkov really proved that he was strong enough to beat Jerry. He, as you said, he had multiple opportunities to win the match and just didn't. I don't think Levan would make those mistakes, and I think Levan is a lot stronger than Georgie. I think it would be a very bad 6-0 is what I would feel, based on how Jerry went against Georgie.
The Schmo says, and I want you to respond to this, Ryan. I'd be concerned that Jerry would get prematurely injured and not return to arm wrestling if he faced Levan. Terrible style matchup. Let me guess. The Schmo, is it because that strong side pressure sweep that Levan has? Because when he gets it going, it's kind of hard to stop. And I don't know if Jerry's,
I suspect we'd see Jerry actually back off the press for the first time. I think it's damn near, it's almost elbow suicide coming forward against Levan, for goodness sake. I know Jerry's got elbows of steel, but him coming forward and trying to flop against Levan and gifting Levan free momentum, free inertia to rock back in his initiation and slam sideways, I think it'd be savage. I agree there could be an injury because it would be ripped off so quickly to the side that I don't think Jerry's never had to respond as fast as he'll need to respond in terms of keeping himself safe. I don't think he can rock back quick enough for what Levan would bring in him. I think round 1, we'd see Jerry come forward, try to get something, get ripped open, and then I think you'd see Jerry try to top roll.
Well, I mean, even
he'd be like, I can't do it.
because Jerry said he would love to go, because when he went Gennady, was it round 3? I think it might have been round 3, round 4. He actually went into that inside shoulder roll press where it wasn't flopped. It was like this. So you're in a lot better position here as you are if you were there. True or false?
Say that last bit again for me.
If, when the match that he beat Gennady with that shoulder roll, his positioning, Jerry's in a lot better position coming this way than he is if he was that way.
Yeah, if he got on top of Levan and could get the shoulder roll in that traditional sense, then there's a match. but I just don't think he can get there with the back pressure that Levan possesses. I think Levan's back pressure is truly what separates him from the rest of the field. I think it's another level up. I don't think he's getting on top of him at any point. No way.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's going to be watching because it's just a foregone conclusion because this is what I see. If Levan keeps winning, Levan's right now, he's focused on Gasparini. If he can't do it, Jerry's next in line. Meanwhile, when that builds up, Dennis is going to be like, okay, I'm getting stronger. I'm getting my bearings back. And then that will be the match of the century, so to speak, That's what I see. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be, having a bunch of things going inside of my head of mine. I don't know. What do you see?
Yeah, I think that is the biggest match that our sport can have. That's where it's going. When I look towards the new generation and I try to work out who is going to be the next one to come along, I see people like Morozov. I think Morozov over the next 3 to 4 years could emerge as the other guy to genuinely challenge Levan. He's tall, got a big frame, and he's still young, and very, very good across all techniques. But as for right now, with the return of Denis Saplenkov, there's a lot of hope and a lot of promise that becomes something special. If his body holds up to it, I'm sure Levan would be very excited to get to pull Denis because, as we said before, he missed out on pulling Denis at his peak. He missed out on pulling Pushkar at his peak. This would be satisfying for him, for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, the next match I think Morozov should have, left hand for the title, is Corey West.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Corey's left looked outstanding. Certainly, I agree with that. He's cemented himself as one of the genuine elites of the world now in the super heavyweight division on the left arm. And Morozov has looked pretty damn untouchable there, with the he only just held on against David Dadakhan. But Morozov's left, Corey West, that would be outstanding. I think, book it. Absolutely book it.
We have to. Because I'm telling you, because and give me your thoughts. Because I've done this before in the past, but not at the elite level that you guys are at. Anybody that pulls East First West, King of the Table, you guys are elite. I'm not elite. But pulling 2 matches on the same day
it's hard.
Doesn't in fact hurt you, harm you in any way possible. I asked Corey on the show last week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it's very closely linked with what that first match meant to you. If the first match that you pull means a lot, emotionally, mentally, it will hit you really hard if you are victorious, as he was. It was a big arrival moment. It was a big comeback in the match. It was a match where I think, because of what it meant to him and the significance, the hormonal crash, the adrenaline crash afterwards, I think is substantial. It's not always the case. For instance, like I pulled Arm Wars. I pulled left against James Wall in what turned out to be a silver bullet match. And 40 minutes later, I pulled Bogdan Stoiker on right. And I'll tell you, I needed all of that 40 minutes. Like, my heart rate was still high from the James Wall match, and I was only just getting my head back to, and my breathing back to steady and relaxed. Right. So it does have an effect. I turned up for my right arm match really well, but I think when I reflect on that, you do those the other way. If I had to pull Bogdan first and won, and then pulled James Wall second, I probably would have lost to James Wall because of the emotional adrenaline dump of getting the job done for what the big moment was. So I think you can't have 2 big moments on the same card. If one's a walk in the park for you and then the big moment later, it works.
Oh, well, I'm glad you brought that up because we saw that firsthand. We saw Hermes beat Chafee, put all his eggs in that basket, right?
Yeah.
Beats Dave, and then he still had Morozov on the left, and he ends up getting injured, but it was like you can just tell that he was just mentally, physically exhausted because he put every single ounce of drop of whatever he had into that Chafee match, So that does speak volume. I do agree.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of that is just the emotional factor, how much it meant. And yeah, as you say, Hermes and Dave Chafee, you could see how much it meant to him. He was a shadow of himself when he stepped up to Morozov.
I mean, I think anybody could have beat. I think I might have had a crack at him. He put all his, like I said, all his energy went to that match, and it was like, dude. And I kind of felt bad for Morozov because it was like, well, crap. I was kind of wanting to prove myself, and yet, he got hurt, and it wasn't, the best version. So, and I get that. It happens sometimes. Tell me you're not going to do that kind of stuff anymore.
As in double matches.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's Khaled Jashel is the man infamous for double matches. I kind of like I wanted to prove this point exactly to him that he can't do it.
Right.
And then disgracefully, he then called out Matt Mask and Krasimir Kostadinov to try to do the same thing again on two guys that were higher caliber than me and Schoolboy. So anyway, no, you won't see me calling out any double super matches on my right. That's for sure.
Now, I mean, I have to ask you because, and granted, he was tired for beating Schoolboy, but I don't think when I had you on the show last time, I don't think I ever asked you how strong was Khaled's hand.
So I went into that match expecting his wrist flexion was going to be unbeatable. So I didn't try to beat it. I wanted to just dislocate his wrist in a rising sense, which I was able to do comfortably. So his wrist flexion felt amazing. His wrist rise felt okay-ish, and his elbow conditioning, side pressure integrity felt pretty bad. His bicep strength felt amazing, but it was just adding fatigue to it and all that sort of stuff. It's hard to. I can only assume that his hand would have gone up another level if he was fresh. His bicep would have gone up another level. I don't think his wrist would have changed much. I don't think his side pressure would have changed much. But his hand, it's imposing. You grip it, and you're like, you can just feel this is a hand that has a lot in it. So, yeah. Impressive hand. The most impressive thing was when I went over to Khaled's gym at Beta's house, and we were just going through all of the different grip tools that they've got. There are all these monstrous inch dumbbell style tools on the ground. And the most impressive thing was not watching him lift the heavy ones, but watching him just reshuffle all of them, just moving them around the room, like picking up 65 kilo, 67 kilo, 62 kilo, moving them like they were nothing, just rearranging the furniture, so to speak.
Yeah, it's crazy.
His hands are amazing.
Well, Ryan, is there anything else you want to add before we go ahead and put a bow tie on this bad boy? Because I have one last question. I'm going to say it to the very, very end. But is there anything else you want to add on there?
Man, look, thanks for having me on the show. Thanks to everyone in the comments section for hanging out. I hope you come and tune in on, if you're in the USA, expect February 24th around 8 p.m. Eastern time. But hit the join now button on my YouTube channel, Ryan Blue Bowen. You'll see the Chance Shaw pay-per-view there. It's going to be a good one. I am giving away my portion of the profit. So if Chance Shaw and I clear the cost of this event, we're then fighting for a 60-40 split. And my split, whether it's the 60 or the 40, I'm giving it all to one pay-per-view member.
Oh, well, there you go. Nice. You guys check that out. Be sure to like and subscribe to Mr. Bowen because he has 10,000 subscribers now. Is that what you got?
Yeah, I love to. I think I'm about to crack 95 on YouTube. It's going good.
Guys, nice. So, actually, I got two questions. So, where'd you wake up this morning? What'd you wake up at?
104.7.
All right, because I'm about 232, so that's about 106, maybe.
They're the same, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Now, the question everybody wants to hear, because we're at the end of the show. What is your prediction of you and Chance? It's 6 rounds, yes?
Yeah, 6 rounds. My prediction, my gut feel is I'm going to win. I think we're going to get 3 rounds. I think the buckle will play a factor like it did last time. I think both of us perform better when we don't have the buckle side. I think you'll see that in the early rounds. It's most likely that it goes 1-1 straight up based on the buckle. And then you're going to see his wrist start to fatigue. And when it gets fatigued to enough of a degree, I'll win both sides. Doesn't matter whether I've got the buckle or not then. So whether it's a 5-1, 4-2, or 4-3, it's going to be one of them. But I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good.
Well, I tell you what, I've been watching
Feeling
your workouts and stuff, and you really be putting the work in. And it's nice to know that a few years ago it was table time, this, that, and the other. Now it's like, you know what? Go ahead and put another set of 45s on there. Oh, pretty good. Go ahead, put another set on there. And you're just like getting after them, thinking, okay, which is kind of scary and kind of dangerous now. This ain't the Bowen of 215, 220. This is the new version now. So we're thinking what? The 242 class? Is that what we're going to be hanging around with now?
I think, 242 class is me for sure. Which sounds crazy. Just saying that and hearing that sounds crazy, but yeah, it is. It is. It really is.
And the Irish Derby, the match will take place in Australia. So Chance is going to get there. He's going to get off the plane, take a piss, and then go right to the match. No, I'm just playing.
So it's happening at the Apex Sports Festival on February 25th down in Adelaide, Australia. You can come and see it in person. Hit up the Apex Sport Festival website. You can come along if you are in Adelaide, Australia. We'd love to see you there.
How hard is it? I'm sorry. I know that was the last question I had, but another one that's triggered me. How hard is it to get people to come to Australia to compete? Because you guys are kind of in your own world.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, it's a long way, and it's an expensive trip because it is such a long way. But it is a beautiful place to visit, man. It's like I've been around the world, and look, I'm a big fan. Australia is pretty damn awesome. Our beaches here, our food, everything. It's nice. It's really nice. So,
I mean,
you have a good time. Have a good time if you come here.
This hemisphere is in the winter. Your hemisphere is in the summer as we speak right now. So
it's really easy to get Canadians to want to come. All the Canadians are like, yes, get me out of this Canadian winter. I'll happily come to Australia.
If they go to Australia, they're not leaving. You know that, right?
Yeah. Well, they would probably die of heat stroke. Like I said, I think it's about 110 for me today in Fahrenheit, and it's not an overly hot day.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, sir, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day to join me on the show. I appreciate that. But yeah, good luck. I know you still got a couple more weeks of training. Then you'll take a week off.
Yeah, I've got 18 more days of training to go. I mean, my coaches have designed this month's program all to peak towards Chance. I will do that. I'm doing that in the gym as well. So we're going to see a couple of record lifts from me over the next week or two as I get closer to that peak. And you'll see me doing real comfortably. So you'll see the form I'm in is amazing. I'm excited about this peak and this run up to the match. Sebastian Oreb, he's a friggin' wizard when it comes to programming and peaking people for a competition. So I'm excited. This is the best prep I've ever had. No doubt the strongest I've ever been. And if chances even half not taking this seriously, I'll expose him and make him look silly.
Woo! And there you have it right there. Well, my friend, thank you very much. I'll let you get on with the rest of your day. Thanks for joining my show. We'll keep in touch, my friend.
All right. Cheers, man.
Take care. All right. That was Ryan Bowen. You said it, very confident, but hey, he knows what he's doing. And then now he's got the weight training thing in stock. There you go. Now, Marcus Thompson. Arm Gods. And Carolyn Looms was in the chat, and she said, was I still pulling Evan Burgoyne at Winter Blast? And I explained to her I was not, because I'll be in Manchester, England for Arm Wars later in March. Now, I still think I have a legit chance to whoop that ass for Evan Burgoyne. Yes, after what I saw at Arm Gods, man, I will put that dude down. Marcus Thompson, if you're still in the chat, is the next Arm Gods going to take place in Canada? I just want to know, because I would love a shot at him, but it all depends on what you guys got planned. I will kick his ass in Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto. Doesn't matter. Not Montreal. They don't count. But do you see what I'm saying, though? But I'm telling you right now, I would love to have a match with that guy. My Marcus says, yes, Canada versus, yeah. Do you guys have a set date yet? Because now I'm wondering, because I'm doing the math here. Paul Maiden beat Evan 3-0, won the Commonwealth title belt, then successfully retired, which means if I'm doing my math right, that belt is up for grabs. Now, when exactly is that going to happen? I don't know, because you're talking to a guy who drinks straight Kahlua with nothing in there. Straight Kahlua. Now, I'm wondering, because that match was supposed to happen at Winter Blast, Evan and myself, March 11th in Philly. However, Uncle John and I did some after pulling, and we said, that looks good. Got a hold of Neil. Neil booked us, so me and him are going to have a date coming up at Arm Wars. But I still want to know, do I have what it takes to compete with Evan? Does anybody in the chat think that I have a legit chance to pull Evan and beat him? Let me take a sip. You guys answer that for a second. Because I'm gonna tell you something. After what I saw, and I'm not dissing the guy, not at all. I respect Evan. I mean, hell, Ottawa Valley High Hookers, they got an awesome team. I mean, that goes without saying, right? But I'm telling you right now, I think I might have something for the guy left-handed. I think so. I know good and damn well he can't touch me right. Arthritis and all. He ain't fucking touching me. But left seems to be the hand he wants to go. I would love to do that. So I don't know. Marcus, maybe you and I gotta have a talk or something like that. We'll have to we'll have to get together and talk some stuff. The Drew said left-handed, correct. Left-handed is correct. It is correct. Now, if by chance, wouldn't it be funny if he happened just to show up as a surprise at Arm Wars? I'd kick his ass there too, all over the continent. Don't matter. But yeah, I would love to see that. Who would like to see that? Somebody put that out there. Make it happen. Make Chocolate Thunder and the Beer Man go head to head. I would love to do that. Love it. But, what to see. But I tell you what, I want to thank all you guys for joining me on the show today, because, again, this is awesome. How cool is it that you can come on the podcast show and just talk shop? All my brothers and sisters in the chat and my uncle, Cobra Rhodes, of course. We get to sit there and we just chop it up, right? And we don't do take two. So if I stutter or I mess up, we just keep going. That's how we just keep going. Yes, Marcus, text Evan now. Text his ass. He might be drunk, but text him anyway. Yeah. Look at that. Make chocolate beer foam. Yeah. Yes, make that. I'm telling you right now. I love that. But you know what, though? I'm sure you guys are probably tired of hearing about me, but I do appreciate. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And you know what? Do not forget this Saturday, Arm Wars Dark Card, main event, Devin Larrett, Sandris. Okay? Check them out. The only way to watch that is become a member, $6.99. If you're already a member, you're all good. And you'll see me, this pretty face, sometimes. Monday morning, my friend Ryan Espy and I, Cam Connection, we'll talk about the Arm Wars wildcard match. So, with that being said, everybody, love you guys. I will talk to you guys soon. And as always, see ya when I see ya. Enjoy yourself.